Okay, hey guys. So I think part two of hashtag building in public. So for the uninitiated, this is my site, which is now in the sort of the launch phase right now. So planning out how I'm going to launch it, what are the growth channels that I'll use, sort of, and I have a rough sort of outline I made here a few, I think last week or so. But yeah, I think it's time to now formalize the growth, how I'm thinking of growth, and I think I'll do that. So this is like a mind mapping tool called Coggle. I think it's pretty good. There are others, but used a few, but I think this is pretty good. But anyway, not the point. So marketplace. So this is a marketplace model, right? This is not a SaaS or an e-commerce kind of website where it's just use. So it's the product or the service, and it's selling to one side, right, which is the users. Here, in this case, the product is in the middle, and the people you are selling to are on both sides. So in this case, for example, Airbnb is a marketplace. So the people that Airbnb is selling to are both the people that are putting their house on rent and the people that are buying the houses on the rent for their vacation or whatever. Right? For example, Uber is a marketplace where they are selling their service to both the drivers who are putting their cars on Uber and the riders who are rider provider meme, riders who are riding in the cabs, correct? So that's basically a marketplace, right? I think a marketplace, it becomes difficult to think about growth when it comes to a marketplace, because you have to find the balance between whom do you market to first, essentially, right? So, and I think the best way to go about it is to find some sort of a niche and go all in on both sides, or at least on one side. So yeah, and so there's the thing, right? There's obviously the chicken and an egg problem when you think of growth. Is that why would a student apply for a job on Startup and Turn, or register, see if they qualify on Startup and Turn, if there are no jobs here, right? And and the other side is that why would a startup post a job if there are no students that are applying, right? So it's like a recursive and a problem. So the more students that apply, the more startups are incentivized to post. The more startups post, the more students are applying. But then where does it start, right? Do you start with the student or do you start with the startup? Right, so it's like a dilemma, and I think one of the things someone told me was focus on the most difficult part to get in. So in my case, I think that's the startups to post the jobs. Because students are, I think, pretty easy to get. Everyone wants internships, so I think I could just tap into a few student networks and get at least 100 students to qualify, or get at least like maybe 500 to 600 top of the funnel and qualify a few of them. So I think students would be the easy part for me, and since startups are the one that are actually paying for the posts, I think they are my paying customers. So I think I should focus on getting them first. So I think the way I'll think of growth is towards the right. I'll just make how I'm thinking of startup. So maybe I think initially LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a good way. What happened to this? Just a minute. Okay, so LinkedIn, it's one. Then in LinkedIn there are ways that, so LinkedIn comes into social media, but okay, so this would be more like DM LinkedIn or LinkedIn DM. And LinkedIn DM, so different types of people, right? Connections. So there are a few founders in my connections. I could just DM them. I could cold DM for search founder or CEO. Another thing we could do is cold DM for search recruiter or HR, but I think HR is more broad of a term. I think recruiter should be it for now, at least. Cold DM for search, if you cold connections, cold DM connections, right? No, it's not cold, just DM connections. Um, so yeah, another way would be to DM founders who posted on Angel, Intern, China, LinkedIn, etc. Another way would be to LinkedIn for DM for search. So I think LinkedIn search also searches for the stuff in the bio, and founders that are actively hiring and post about hiring on LinkedIn have like a now hiring, or so the reason why I'm tagging this or in caps is it's called a Boolean search on LinkedIn. You also have like plus or minus if you want. So now hiring or hiring for multiple roles is something I've seen, and I think I'll add to this later on. So yeah, that's one. Another way of this would be partnerships. So whom do you partner with, right? Ideally, when you're thinking of partnerships, you should think of ways in which think of places where your target audience is aggregating. That's the place where you should partner with. So let's say like a few I had in my mind were co-working spaces. But this is more long term. I'll add more to the partnerships first. Let me just think getting press is one good way to, at least during launch, so I have that initial bump of posts, and then I could work on this getting the students on board aggressively. Press is one, social media of course is one, but I think I'm just betting a lot on LinkedIn DM, at least like for the first 10. My connections would be, I won't say sufficient, but I'll get at least maybe 5 job posts from the people in my network, and then at least from the cold DMs I could get a few more. So that's there. Co-working spaces is one area of partnership, and maybe it's like skill development. So these people, skill development people, right? It's like the job training not agencies, schools, I don't know what you call them, educational institutes, yeah, job training institutes or skill development institutes. So like maybe code camps or something like Tallerang, right? So Tallerang is like they train students. I actually know some people there, so that's good. I think there is CoCubes, which I had searched now. CoCubes. I think there's Aspiring Minds. These are, I think, some of the good ones. How do you move this? Okay, this is a bit. Yeah, okay, great. So yes, okay, so just pause there for a bit to get the formatting right. Yeah, so partnerships is one. Partnerships with co-working spaces, skill development, stuff like this. So I think co-working, I think the smaller ones would be good to go, but then the smaller ones won't necessarily have a large enough startup number. But I'm not really with them. I think skill development is the first one which I would go after, and then maybe later on I could brainstorm more on these. Press, I think your story is a good one. And I think I'll have to find a few more to add. I think it's formatting these things. Come on, someone. I'm sure good people are watching this. Make a better mind map tool. Almost all of the mind map tools I've used, there's just some fucking formatting error. Yeah, okay. Or maybe I just don't know how to use a mouse. So yeah, let's get back to it. Social media is one. So social media, I think, of course, like all that. I'm not doing Facebook. don't like Facebook, and Facebook had screwed me over once in one of my last startups that I was running. So I don't like Facebook. Although Instagram is Facebook, but still. So Instagram is one. LinkedIn, of course. LinkedIn is one for, and I think both on Insta and LinkedIn we could do some sort of meme marketing, because I think the whole job space is crowded with you. I think this guy Rahul Subramanian does a lot of scrutinizing corporates and things like that in a funny way. So maybe you could put a spin like that, and that has some virality. Some people tag each other, coefficient there. Another way would be referrals. So right now, at least, thinking of it in a rough, rudimentary way would be to ask founders for referrals in exchange for a coupon code. Although I don't see how coupon code comes into play here, because it's already pay as you go. So if someone has to pay less, they can just pay less. They don't need a coupon code. But yeah, I think ask founders for referral in exchange for something, or if they like the service, they could just refer directly. There's no need of it's pay as you go anyway. So why do you need a coupon code? Yeah, so referrals is one way, and I think referrals also would work here. So Instagram, not so much for. I don't think I should add Instagram here. Let me delete this. Because Insta won't help me get startups. Insta is more student centric, whereas LinkedIn is both student and startup centric. So yeah, I think this is good. I think I'll add a few more here that I think I'll have to reach out to at least 15 or so publications. So the way getting press works is that, at least what I have read, is that you get the small ones first, and once you get the small ones, you can tell the big one that, hey, this guy, he posted about me, maybe you should too. And then the big one feels that, oh, am I missing out? And then they post. So yeah, that is that. Maybe let's do the student side now. So the right side is the startup line of thinking. Student line of thinking would be, again, these partners, right? So I think the skill development. Another would be, I think press maybe a bit here, but not a main channel. Oh yeah, I forgot. Do this up. I forgot SEO or content. So yeah, I think Googleable content is good, because I don't think Internshala has a good enough blog or ranking. Their homepage, I did some keyword domain ranking research, and they don't rank very high, and there aren't any blogs related to hiring and interns, especially on Internshala. So I think this is a very good long-term growth strategy. So that's one way. Content is one way for sure. And yeah, is there a way to get this out of the way and get this here? Yeah, to the right, because right was for startups. So yeah, skill development again. So Tyler and any one of these skill development institutes, right? And then there is these guys, CoCubes. I'm sure there are many, and I'll add more here, but these are just the ones that I know off the top of my head. Aspiring Minds. Skill development. Then there's social media. So you could do all sorts of stuff. Instagram. You could do LinkedIn. You could do Facebook, even maybe Twitter, but yeah, let's add it. Maybe Twitter could be used here also. Here as well, Twitter. Twitter. Okay. So Twitter is good. Twitter's done. I think I'll add more here. The press will just be like the main thing for launch at least, and post launch will be press and LinkedIn DM launch. Post launch LinkedIn DM, some sort of LinkedIn automation followed by content, and of course social media referrals drive passively, and if one of these works out, then for sure good stuff. So social media is there, skill development institutes are there, and of course I'll keep adding more here. So let me just add a few dummy ones. Here. So yeah, for students, and another avenue for students would be student communities, right? So there are these student communities or chapters, bodies, etc., which you can partner with them, maybe send them like a ebook or do like a talk for them, something like that. Maybe I could tap into my own college and get students from there. Another thing would be, let's say, social media, right? So another thing would be influencer marketing. So there are these influencers on social media like development, design, things like that, sales even, I think now. So if you get one of them to say, hey, I am a hashtag startup intern, then their whole follower base. That's right. Maybe just like ask them to talk about you. And I know a few of these people, so maybe I could get a few free shout outs. Yeah, so social media is one. Let me see if I'm missing anything. 91 Springboard, no. PR, yeah, for sure. DM funders, yeah, good. I think this pretty much covers it all. Can't think of anything else for students, at least right now. And I'm glad my right side is bigger than the left, because I think once I get the startups on students, it just spreads like wildfire. I think spreading reminded me referrals. So referrals is one for students where in the email I could add in the email, and so so you ask for referrals. So best way to ask for referrals is after a aha moment, right? So I think for all those qualified interns, there could be like a send email to qualified interns, ask for WhatsApp share. What's that? And I think WhatsApp sharing is pretty easy these days. There's just this link that pops up. Click on the link and your WhatsApp pops up, and then they have the top frequent contacts there. Then this should be pretty easy to do. And even I think since it's students, right? Students don't use email a lot. Yeah, there could be badges which could drive, and that comes under maybe social media also. Badges, so custom I am a hashtag startup intern. Just so similar to what these people, Udacity, they do for their these degrees, that nano degrees that they have, right? I qualified for this scholarship. Congrats, you got in, something like that. I think I'll have to figure out a way to automate this, or I think this has potential to be big. This social sharing stuff, and they can share it on their LinkedIn, and I think I add this here also. So this is like passive referring, this is more active referring, and I think we could even ask for social follow or referral in intro email. So every time someone applies to startup intern, they get an email saying, hey, thanks for applying, we'll get back to you in 24 hours. I could maybe add there, hey, maybe tell your friends about it, and if they're excited by that idea, maybe they should. That no harm in testing is what I mean. So yeah, I think this is what I'm thinking of in terms of growth when it comes to startup intern. And yeah, it's a pretty non-exciting. This is like the work, right? And this is even like the work. This is like the strategizing, planning phase, and then now you need to execute on all these branches. So yeah, I think maybe I'll add like a post frequency here. I think LinkedIn like once every day is good. So yeah, this is like the planning phase, and now I got to execute on all of at least the right part first. and keep building this left part on the side. So nothing exciting or glamorous about this. I think this is just a work part of it. So yeah, if you stuck on till the end and thought about and looked at how I think about growth here, appreciate it a lot. Leave a like. I'm sure you're already subscribed. So yeah, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully, I'll do like a launch vlog, or I'll do. And also, by the way, if you guys have any ideas for more growth tactics, channels, things like that, let me know, and I can incorporate them here. Maybe I'll shout you out in the next video. So yeah, thank you. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye.